OPEC plans an emergency meeting as U.S. oil supplies begin to stall. Meanwhile, a private Midland Basin operator just perfected development on an often overlooked formation, potentially unlocking 1.5 billion barrels of resources. And fossil fuels may become the de facto source of power for AI moving forward. Let's get tapped in and break down these stories. Welcome back to the Crude Tube, a pipeline supplying you with the must-know news and events from the energy sector. Let's get to it and see what's happening.
Today is Sunday, April 5th, 2026, and crude is trading at about $111 a barrel at the time of this recording.
So, OPEC delegates confirmed an emergency Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee, or JMMC, meeting scheduled for this week, triggered by data showing U.S. shale output growth is lagging behind OPEC's projections. While total shale output is projected to remain flat or dip slightly, specific regions show divergent trends. The Permian Basin is expected to plateau due to infrastructure limits and fewer high-yield wells, though productivity per well continues to rise. Natural gas production in the Haynesville Shale is forecasted to grow 8.3% in 2026, reaching an average of 15.6 billion cubic feet per day. Basins like the Eagle Ford and Bakken are expected to see declines due to reduced drilling activity and natural depletion. Analysts suggest the foreign oil cartel is debating whether to formally increase its own production quotas to offset the lack of U.S. growth ahead of the summer. For the last decade, when OPEC cuts production, American shale drillers would simply ramp up, flood the market with domestic oil, and keep prices at the pump relatively stable. It seems that insulation may be waning. OPEC holding an emergency meeting suggests that they see a tight market ahead of the summer, which is when gasoline demands spike. Even though the U.S. is still producing massive volumes of oil, the lack of growth means that the country is no longer the swing producer. The narrative that the U.S. can simply frack its way out of any global supply crisis is now in question. This reintroduces a level of volatility and vulnerability to global geopolitics that had been absent for the better part of a decade. If OPEC decides to withhold supply, or if a conflict flares up elsewhere, American consumers no longer have the safety net of rapidly expanding domestic production to fall back on.
Meanwhile, back stateside, a Midland Basin operator has seemingly perfected what's called cube development in the Dean Formation. Cube simply meaning many aspects of planning are conducted on a more detailed and sophisticated schedule. While most operators focus on the Wolfcamp and Bone Spring, a privately held Midland-based operator quietly completed a 12-well development in the Dean Formation across Glasscock and Reagan counties this week. The Dean has long been considered a secondary target, fractured, complex, and often bypassed. The operator is pairing high-density fiber optic monitoring with a novel ceramic proppant schedule. A proppant is the solid material, typically sand or man-made ceramic, injected into well bores and designed to keep an induced hydraulic fracture propped open for production. The benefits of ceramic proppants include higher crush strength to withstand deeper pressures, and higher conductivity allowing the petroleum product to flow around it in the rock fissure. Using ceramic proppants designed specifically for the Dean's brittle mineralogy, the operator reported initial 30-day production rates that rival top-tier Wolfcamp A wells at 30% lower completed footage cost. What has Permian geologists and completion engineers buzzing is that the Dean interval stretches across roughly 1.5 million acres of core Midland Basin acreage that was previously considered fully developed. The objective is maximizing total recovery, not just adding wells. Well sequencing, spacing, infrastructure, and technology are all coordinated, hence cube development. If the technique proves repeatable, it effectively adds a new stacked pay layer across one of the most mature basins in the country without a single new lease acquisition. Multiple private equity-backed operators in the area are now quietly revising their 2027 development plans to incorporate Dean tests. Deploying a cube-style, section-based development model will drive Permian inventory value well into the next decade. Chevron and Microsoft are in an AI power deal. Chevron has entered an exclusivity agreement with Microsoft to co-locate a major 2.5 gigawatt natural gas power plant with an AI data center complex in West Texas, signaling a major convergence of big oil and big tech. The site will be located on Chevron-owned land in West Texas, leveraging the Permian Basin's existing energy infrastructure. The anchor facility is a new natural gas-fired power plant designed to supply dedicated, around-the-clock electricity. Microsoft will co-locate one of its major AI supercomputing data centers directly adjacent to the power plant. This behind-the-fence model avoids grid transmission bottlenecks and costs. 2.5 gigawatts is massive, roughly equivalent to 2 nuclear reactors or powering about 2 million homes. First phases are targeted for 2029-2030. The project plans to incorporate carbon capture and sequestration, or CCS, for the gas plant's emissions, though full technical and regulatory approvals for CCS are still pending. The deal marks big oil pivoting from selling commodity power to supplying dedicated industrial heat and electricity for big tech's most energy-intensive operations. For Microsoft, it solves the grid's inability to deliver reliable, clean, firm power fast enough for AI growth. This plan represents a fundamental restructuring of how power, computing, and fossil fuels will interact for the rest of this decade. It breaks the assumption that big tech's voracious appetite for electricity will be met primarily by renewables and nuclear. Microsoft, one of the world's most aggressive climate pledges, anchoring a natural gas plant, is a de facto admission that wind and solar, even with batteries, cannot currently provide the 24/7 firm, dispatchable power required to train and run frontier AI models. Gas is being rebranded as an AI-enabling fuel, not just a transition fuel. The deal also signals a massive pivot for big oil. Chevron is no longer just an extractor and seller of molecules. By co-locating a data center directly on its land, Chevron becomes a landlord and power merchant to the digital economy. This allows Chevron to bypass volatile commodity markets, secure a guaranteed high-margin buyer for its gas, and vertically integrate into the highest value energy demand sector on the planet. If successful, expect every major oil company to replicate it. Exxon with a data center in the Haynesville Shale, Occidental in the Delaware Basin, and every major tech company will be forced to follow or be outcompeted. This isn't just an energy deal. It is the birth of the fossil fuel-powered AI industrial complex. Amazing. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. I appreciate your time. If you found this informative, let me know in the comments or hit the thumbs up. To keep your future self informed, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you can stay up to date with me in this industry. As always, I'll keep digging. Until next time, take it easy.